Been a week since the devastation, the killing, the murder of kids and teachers in Parkland, Florida, with a school shooter, and politicians across the aisle, both sides reacting. New Jersey's own Governor Phil Murphy weighing in on the crisis and rallying with other governors in our area talking about gun control. Now, the governor may have chosen his words a bit better when he said in reference to gun control, "We got to do it or die trying." John Schumo has the full story. John, what do you got for us?
Bill, the governors of New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island say they are tired of the, quote, utterly ridiculous stall tactics in Washington when it comes to gun safety. So they are looking to take action themselves. The four Democrats announced the creation of a coalition titled States for Gun Safety. They don't want to wait for federal lawmakers to enact change after the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. So Governors Andrew Cuomo, Phil Murphy, Dan Malloy, and Gina Raimondo are looking to accomplish three things: create a cross-state task force to trace and intercept illegal guns coming up I-95, the so-called Iron Pipeline. They want to expand on the sharing of intelligence on the movement of these weapons, as well as information from mental health databases. Finally, they want to establish a gun violence research consortium to study what more can be done specifically on the state level. The governors were planning on announcing this coalition later this year, but that's changed. They say the time to act is now.
And our collective view, again, if I may say on behalf of all of us, is that let's form a coalition of like-minded states, particularly in the absence of national legislation. And in that coalition, try to move the ball forward toward a better reality.
Now, Bill, all four governors will be in Washington, D.C. this weekend for the National Governors Association Conference. They were supposed to talk about things like healthcare, education, and jobs. You can now add gun control to that list. Governor Raimondo said this weekend she'll be trying to convince other governors to join their cause. Bill?
All right, thank you, John. Okay, let's bring in the A-plus panel to break this down. We're joined by immigration attorney Afia Yunus, back with us, Jeanette Hoffman, political strategist, and Elora Nanos, columnist for Law and Crime and an attorney. Guys, Afia, I'm going to start with you. I think Governor Cuomo and Governor Murphy in particular should be ashamed of themselves. Clearly, they subscribe to the idea that never let a good crisis go to waste. What they're talking about, even if you agree 100% with what they're doing, had nothing to do with this awful, horrific, deadly massacre in Florida.
Well, there needs to be some action taken, and I think we can all agree that we don't want illegal guns roaming around in our country. And so I think it's a great start. And starting research has everything to do with what has happened. If we, there hasn't been federally funded research since 1996. So to have states support gun violence research, I think that has everything to do with it.
Jeanette, research, okay, we now know over 7 years, 39 visits from the police, we know Facebook posts, we know that kids in the school identify the shooter as a kid that would likely be the guy that shoots up the school. How is it possible that we are now having a conversation about illegal gun trafficking, which they are already doing something about?
Right, and which should be enforced. This is nothing new. But listen, Bill, politicians are going to pander. After a terrible tragedy like this, people are outraged. They want to see their political leaders do something. A better use of our resources would be to look at what happened in Florida, where the system failed, what we can do to address mental health and the responsible use of social media in this country.
Laura, why not sit with every county sheriff? I mean, you look at the failing in Broward County, sit with every county sheriff and say, all right, guys, here's the protocol, here's the rules, here's what you look for on social media. Here, maybe we start listening to parents and kids and teachers who are saying, hey, you got an isolated kid over here, this is a problem.
Well, I think that would be a great idea too. This is not an either-or situation. We have the governors proposing to do something that should already be done, and this is a great time to do it because this is a time that people are caring and paying attention to gun control. So hey, let's do that. And while we're at it, let's also look at things that maybe will also have a direct impact on things like school shootings.
What's their next step, John?
They need to make sure that other governors are on board. Otherwise, it's just a group of governors staring at each other trying to do this sharing information of just within their few states. It needs to be countrywide if it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, well, two of them at least. We think we'll see their names in that 2020 primary, so we'll see. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.